Hey, would you look at that right there? The old great pumpkin is all finished, cutting and buffing. Paint looks actually like on a 10-point scale, in my opinion, like a 9.5. So best paint job to date that I've ever done, and it was done here in the garage. Now, what's next after the paint, you say? Well, we're kind of on the home stretch the way that we do it here, because we've already got the engine, transmission, drive lines, brakes, suspension, exhaust. Everything on the other side of the car is all buttoned up and ready to go. So we're basically down to, as you can see, a piece of glass in there, but the windshield, the interior, the bumper, the chrome trim, and like the little emblem and stuff, all the jewelry that goes on the car. And then, of course, do some shakedown driving. But I guess what we're getting into is I was going to do the vinyl top next, but had a bit of a snag. So kind of find out, I believe it was box strong or just poorly manufactured. Not sure which. So unfortunately, the next video was supposed to be doing the vinyl top, but I cannot install this top. I'll show you here in just a minute as for the why. But I've got another one on order. I got it from Ames, and I'm hoping for a better fit that I put this on, because I'm telling you what, this thing is intimidating me just a little bit. I just don't see how this is supposed to fit. I've done a convertible top there on the Trans Marorado, first one I ever did. Had no issues, really came out good. Why is a vinyl top kicking my butt? Well, let me show you. Now, I put this thing out in the sun, let it sit for a day or three. Let it kind of try to get the wrinkles out of it. But the problem I'm running into is the back window opening. I have almost, by the time I pull this straight, almost 4 inches of extra material here in the back. No matter how I try to position this on the roof of the car, I'm going to have that big old pile of extra material back there. So best I can come up with, either it was manufactured wrong or boxed wrong. So either way, there's no way I'll ever be able to get this thing to fit and look the way that needs to look for this car. So seeing how I won't be doing a vinyl top video next, well, what do you want to see is I guess what I'm going to say here. This video here is I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to send me a message. What part of the final assembly would you like to be, I guess, included in these videos? I'll kind of do some highlights and stuff that I think that is important. But as I learned during the teardown, well, I missed a lot of things that you guys wanted to see. Found out after the fact. So this is a perfect time now. Just, hey, John, raise your hand. There's something that you'd like to see, like the window installation, glass and regulator. Someone already asked me if I was going to do a video on that, and I actually did. So you'll be seeing that video here soon. But let's just say, is there anything else, like those quarter vent, the little quarter panel, little louver, chrome little trim piece on there? Right now, before you put the regulator and glass in, it's a whole heck of a lot easier to install those. I've got those on order. But like I said, we've got the entire interior. I'm going to redo the seats. I have the glass install I need to do. Of course, the vinyl top there, whenever I finally get the right one. Headliner. But I know all the things that needs to be done. I'm going to work on making a list here. I'm going to drag you guys along as we make a checklist of everything that still needs done to make this car complete, because I'll tell you, we are on the home stretch. Now, of course, like I said, this is a garage paint job. It is far from saying that it's perfect, but I'll tell you what, came out super clean. And all that body working, all that time we spent to line up the panels when this thing is all painted and done, when you sight down the car, you can barely make out the door jambs or the door gaps, because it should look like one continuous reflection. This car has done that. We've actually got that happening, looking super nice. So panel fitment, this hood shuts and lines up great with the fenders. Paint came out good, really super clean. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, garage paint job in the garage here came out great, super happy with the results. And then the back looks equally about the same. Trunk deck came out great. This is an AMD trunk deck. I did very little modification to it to get it to fit. I guess some cleanup down there, but we hadn't even washed the car yet. There's still a crap still all over the floor. Tail panel fitment came out really nice. You guys saw the video on how to do seam sealer, so it looks like this when it's all done. Look how clean that sits right in there. And even here, this is all the finished product. That's what that looks like there, that seam all painted. Looks nice and clean, so that came out great. And then down here, like, if you guys have just the first go around and haven't heard me talk about it, but there is supposed to be a gap here, no seam sealer whatsoever. I assure you that there is, but it's just really tight because I was able to get these panels to pull in really good. AMD quarter panels and tail panel worked really nice together. So super happy with that fitment of those pieces. And I put a little jewelry on it just to make it look a little more gooder back here. But I still got to paint the inside of the trunk. So let's get started on our list here. Inside of the trunk needs finished. I've done the seam sealing, so that looks really good. But I'm going to paint this kind of I haven't decided if it's either a gray or a black yet, and do some of the texture painting, but should go pretty quick. But this is one of the projects I need to do. Do all the paint inside of the trunk and even that out. So I'll put that on our list. Then, of course, all the badging and lights need to go in once the trunk is painted on the inside. Underneath the car, on the other hand, we're almost all buttoned up. I need to bleed out the brakes. I never did that yet. And the exhaust still needs a little bit of a final assembly. I never secured this bracket that kicked my butt from the very beginning. Then I'll probably tack weld just all the exhaust junctions just to make sure this thing stays in place. But I got some bump stops to install, pretty self-explanatory, I hope. Shocks all the way around, all four corners. Still need to put the shock absorbers in. But under the middle of the car, I don't think there's anything left under here besides give the thing a bath. But the underside looks really good, all buttoned up. I'll have to adjust the parking brake cable once I get the pedal assembly installed. But underneath here, I don't think there's a whole lot. And then here's rocker panels, and here's all the detail on. So there's the bolts. I like the black heads on the bolts because how I paint it. And then the rocker panels look really clean and nice. So I'd say underneath the car, I don't have a whole lot to do. And this is, again, I think that's really cool. Inside, well, we've got door handles, lock cylinders. Now, I was working on doing this here, installing the latches. Technically, the latches are installed and the car is painted. So normally these would be painted body color, a little bit of overspray on the latch. Well, I don't know, I just don't like the look of that. So this is how we do it here at the Vinyl Village Garage, I guess you could say. That's how I like to do them. Inside, finish assembling the door. I've got mirrors put on both sides. And then we have, of course, carpet. I need to finish the AC vent install. I was going to put these in, but I don't like the little vents. I'm going to get new chrome ones because they're like 15, 20 bucks each. I painted the surrounds to match the interior, so made that progress looking pretty good. I have to finish the center console. I'm modifying the center AC vent. The one that comes with the Vintage Air is two separate vents and just doesn't fit the dash, so I have an original AC car vent. I'm going to adapt it to the Vintage Air kit, so I think that looks a whole lot better, or I say gooder. Steering wheel is already done and installed, but I've got to drop the column back down, install the wiring harness, so that's on our list. Install wiring harness or wire the car. And then once I get the wiring done for the door jamb, then I can put the parking brake lever, or put pedal in there, kick panel in, all that stuff, then I can tighten up the parking brake underneath. And like I said, I still need to bleed the brakes. I haven't done that yet. So I'll be able to drive the car once I get that squared away. Then inside, never did anything with the headliner yet. This thing looks like garbage, but going to get I have the new headliner. Of course, that's pretty self-explanatory, change in the dome light, I think, but painted the back there, autumn bronze to match the interior. So I've got basically the entire interior to do. Then under the hood, of course, we got to install an antenna. That might be kind of fun. Under the hood, I've almost got everything all buttoned up and done, but we'll take a peek. But I still need to clean up the plug wires. Let's see if it does one hand. Okay. Now under the hood, of course, we still got the front bumper to install. This is our AC trinary switch. Gotta do some custom wiring on that still. We're gonna add a cooling fan to this that cycles with high pressure on the cooling system, so the air conditioning works a lot better at idle instead of relying on the, you say, thermostatic clutch fan here on the engine. I have a different air cleaner lid. Finally found the correct one for a 4-barrel base, so that's just on there to keep dirt out. That's not our permanent solution. I already mentioned bleeding the brakes. Got to do that. Need a wire in the hood tech. It's just kind of hanging in there right now. But the engine, almost squared away. Got to hook up the throttle. I got to get some creative things going on here. I've got a nice throttle cable, but I don't have the 4-barrel throttle bracket, so I may modify the 2-barrel to make it work with this. So, because a lot of you guys probably changed your 2-barrel to 4-barrel, but I'll try to make it look like it was supposed to be. Battery trays are already done. So really under the hood, not a whole lot. So I say this is going to go hopefully pretty quick. Now, I didn't do a video on painting the inside of the hood. I had this hood sandblasted and media blasted, so I just lightly primed and then sanded this and used our 60% gloss paint here, which it's really dusty and nasty. And of course, probably the biggest thing is just washing this car, bring it back up to par. Then of course, front bumper, grill installation, all that stuff. So really kind of getting down to the final details. Driver side, basically the handle and mirror. No, these little turn signal lights, those are going to be fun to put back in. I'm not quite sure how those work. The ones that are in the car are busted and broken and junk, so I'll get those put in. I'll be able to do a video on that just the same. So now you see what's left that needs to be done to the car. This is like your choose your own adventure opportunity. Tell me what you want to see. And now I see another one here. I'm looking in the camera. I did end up boogering up the hinges. I figured getting the paint on the side of the hood was more vital than overspray on the hinges. So I'll take that back apart and clean those up. But lesson learned. That didn't work. But I just wanted to try to keep the metallic as even as possible. And if you ever meet me at a car show, ask me the one part that I didn't have on the car, and I can tell you, I see a slight difference in color, but I won't tell you on the camera. You got to come find me and ask me in person sometime. But nonetheless, again, the point of this video is, what do you want extra special attention on or detail? And I will definitely do my best to get a video, but you're gonna have to put a comment on this one here to make that happen. And of course, now you can see just a little over a year working on the garage. Now keep in mind, I do have a full-time job. I have 2 little children and a wife that I definitely spend time with, and they're, keeping them happy is probably more important than playing cars. This is just what I do for fun. I know that probably blows your mind, but this is just a fun project for me. This isn't even my car. Some of you don't probably know that either. This is a car that I'm building for someone that I've known for a while, and we worked out a deal that I wanted to build a car on YouTube from bumper to bumper, beginning to end, and I didn't have a car of my own that was at that point when I started YouTube. My cars were like the Transmirado, done. My high school car, don't look at the workbench, everything stacked on it. I've had that thing for years, but it's to the point where it's ready to do body work. I missed out on all the metal work, all the behind the scenes things to get to this point. So that's why I decided to go ahead and help someone with this car, and had a lot of fun, but it's coming to an end. So nonetheless, I've rambled on enough. Again, appreciate you following me on this. Hope you found this stuff entertaining, educational, or give you some inspiration on getting your car done. And you've seen it all built here in this garage. And by any stretch of imagination, I guess I don't claim myself to be a professional, just a lot of experience, 25 plus years of doing this stuff, tinkering and playing. And I've learned a lot of stuff the hard way. I just want to share it with you now to expedite your process, and then you can get better results, maybe quicker and on your first try. So nonetheless, I've rambled on enough. Please let me know what you'd like to see. Then hopefully I'll get a dadgum vinyl top that will work, and I will do a video on that soon just the same. And we'll see you guys then.